One question that's always interesting to ask is what one big key quality would you be looking for in a significant other? That's whether someone you're just dating or you're in a long-term relationship or you intend on marrying them. Like, what's one big thing that you're looking for to find someone who you really make it with? And interestingly enough, the answer that you hear a lot is how intelligent they are, their intelligence. This is because I think the bare bone answer is to say how they look, like whether they have a good body or not. But people really don't like that because it's perceived as shallow and vain. And in reality, it is vain. You shouldn't judge how you like people on how they look. It should be deeper than that. And for most people, intelligence is going deeper than that. Like, that's the big answer because it's much better to be intelligent, right? When I hear this answer, though, I always think of the first episode of Death Note. If you haven't heard of Death Note, you haven't watched it, basically it's an anime where this kid finds the Death Note, a notebook where if you write down the name of anybody in it, they die. Now, this is obviously a great power, and he realizes this, so he starts to wonder whether or not the gods gave it to him. Eventually, he confronts the god of death, and he asks him why he entrusted him with this great power. He says, it's probably because I'm so intelligent, right? Because I was able to understand and control these powers, and, it's just based around his intelligence. That's what he believes it. And he confronts the god of death about that. And his answer is, wow, you're pretty vain. You're really self-centered, aren't you? Do you really think it's about you? Do you really think that your intelligence matters? The fact that you are where you are is just totally random. It had nothing to do with you at all. And what you perceive as important really isn't. And that always confused me, that idea that him getting the power and being able to do all these things was independent of his intelligence. When I thought about it more, it started to make more and more sense, though, because being intelligent isn't something that you choose. It's not something that you work towards. Now, everybody can work towards improving their knowledge, but my question is, how important is that really to a relationship? This might seem like a bit of a dramatic jump, but I'm going to go over to animals. The topic of animals interests me because the way that they're capable of thinking and experience emotions and interact socially with others, it brings in a lot of questions, like how valuable are us people? Maybe we're not as special as we think we are because the animals are pretty big too. While I do think that they're more cognitive than we give them credit for, I don't think that they're quite equal to humans. But there has to be some reason why, right? We can't just feel like we're better than them. There has to be some reason. Now, one big obvious answer would be intelligence. Maybe we're just more intelligent than them, and that's what makes us special, right? That's what makes us better. I would disagree with that for two reasons, though. One, because our increased intelligence over them, it isn't marginally a big deal. Like, we're smarter than monkeys, but monkeys are smarter than cats or dogs, and the cats and dogs are smarter than ants. And we don't perceive those jumps to be as big as between us and any other animal. So what makes us special in that regard? I'll talk more about that in some other video, probably. But the big answer in this is the gap in intelligence between us and other members in our species. That's not something that's unique to people either. Like, there are smart cats and dogs, there are dumb cats and dogs, there are marginally intelligent cats and dogs. The fact that there are smart people and dumb people, that's not something unique to our species. So that's always something that these animals can consider when looking for a mate. They can consider whether they're capable of figuring out situations and protecting them in a situation. Always just being the strongest one doesn't always help. Sometimes you can be undermined in some situation and killed. So there are many different characteristics they have to consider. But then what makes us different from animals? In my mind, it's the ability to be emotionally involved and emotionally aware, if that makes any sense. It's the ability to be invested in something else and aware of how you impact it and to really care about that. And that's something that animals don't quite have. I find that really interesting because I think that it's like we're more capable of caring about things than most animals really are. And in a way, that's what separates us. And that's what love is as a whole. It's not being able to relate to someone necessarily. You should have some relation to them, but the most important thing should be if you can feel it, if you can really connect with that person, if you can just be in their presence and enjoy yourself and have fun and feel like you're a better person for being in their presence. If you're looking for somebody to love, the emotional investment is what really matters. And in my mind, that's the toughest answer to give, because with anything else, like whether you're being attractive or intelligent or having a nice front or anything like that, it's very easy. It's like, oh, there's the person I want. But when it's emotional investment, you have to put a lot of time and energy and invest in this person. It's very difficult, and that's why not a lot of people like that idea. But the fact is, you have to invest something into the other person. You can't just say, this is the nice person, I'm going to pick them up. It takes a lot of work, and I don't think that's something a lot of people like to admit. I'm talking about this because in my life, there's one guy I know who's intelligent, and he's dating a girl who isn't quite so. And a lot of people are being very judgmental about that. Like saying, oh, he's just dating her for her body because she's a bimbo and he wants sex or whatever. The thing is, I've seen them together, though, and I don't really think that's it. I think that they really do have something together. I don't think it's right to judge people based on their level of intelligence, because intelligence isn't something you have control over. What you do have control over is what you do with your life and your mind, and how you impact others in your life. You can give a lot without being intelligent. You can care about somebody and invest your all in them. And in my mind, that's what love is truly about. It's not about what you have, but what you give. How much you really care about somebody. And that's what makes people special, and that's what makes our love special. Because you can really invest in someone and care.